Something is coming. Something hungry for blood. What is it?
I've never been a big Steven Spielberg fan, I have to admit. I find most of his work too cloying, sentimental, and so obvious in its manipulation, which is why I was pleasantly, and I have to say nostalgically surprised to find myself enjoying and sometimes even being freaked out by Stranger Things, which does E.T. era Spielberg even better than Star Wars The Force Awakens director J.J. Abrams, and he really tries hard. Admitting that, part of my absorption into the Matt and Ross Duffer created and Sean Levy produced 8-episode July 15th launching Netflix series is also the love they display for the great John Carpenter and the dexterity they bring to the now very trendy 1980s in the Winona Ryder and David Harbour-led series.
The Demogorgon!
We're in deep shit.
Starting with a game of Dungeons & Dragons on a November Indiana night in 1983, then an E.T. bike riding homage, then followed by abductions, secret government projects, which means lots of flashing lights, mysterious short-haired girls played by the exceptional Millie Brown, mixtapes, The Power of Friendship, and never underestimating the power of a slingshot, see what I mean, real 1980s stuff. Stranger Things works well as both a standalone limited series or hints at more to come, which would make sense under the Netflix business model of building up inventory to combat churn and maintain retention. Also featuring Matthew Modine with an amazing head of hair and some not so pure intentions, Stranger Things sees single mom Joyce Byers played to frenzied fantasticness by Ryder, finding her youngest son Jonathan, portrayed by a wide-eyed to the max Noah Schnapp, suddenly missing. Any parent's worst fear, obviously. The cliches abound then as she tries to galvanize washed-up and broken local police chief Jim Hooper, played by grizzled newsroom alum Harbour, along with searching with her oldest son Jonathan, a marvelous Charlie Heaton, and Will's friends, played by a wonderful trio of young actors.
You're in trouble, aren't you?
Now you get it that Joyce, and it is set up from the get-go nicely, will stumble across something much bigger happening in this one-lane town. And with great work by cinematographer Tim Ives and production designer Charlie Trujillo, the tension starts to suddenly rise with vice-twisting steadiness. Yeah, there's a well-traveled map of well-tested turns, but the lack of originality is overwhelmed by the seriously John Carpenter-inspired score playing that puts you right in the time, along with the look and the fact that things start going full-on X-Files when it comes to the curve and the narrative, so to speak.
Something is going on here!
Which finds Stranger Things getting really spooky, genuinely scary, and I have to tell you, quite moving as the raw fear of more than one parent contemplating that they've lost their child rears up at you at points. So don't say you haven't been warned. In an era where 80s nostalgia is peaking sometimes to worthy and sometimes to hideous results, the surprise beyond the sheer Spielbergness of Stranger Things is a driven homage to the best of the flicks of the Reagan era that you'll want to stick with until the end. And that's no imitation. I'm Dominic Patton for Deadline Hollywood.